Have you ever looked around and, wondered if the world, solid as it feels, might actually be, well, just a story?
Hmm.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into some really extraordinary source material, excerpts from Stephen King's The Dark Tower of the Six, Song of Susannah.
Right. Now, obviously, it is fiction. Let's be clear on that.
Yes, absolutely. But for our purposes today, we're treating its ideas, its content, as a kind of factual exploration of a really mind-bending premise.
Exactly. The mission here is to unpack this universe where characters literally actually meet their creator.
And where different versions of reality aren't just theory, they exist side by side.
Yeah, and the whole fabric of existence seems woven from narrative threads. It gets pretty wild.
You're about to discover some, frankly, surprising things about what it might mean to be a character living inside someone else's imagination. Okay, let's unpack this.
It's such a fascinating idea, taking that whole meta-narrative concept and just pushing it to the absolute limit. We're looking at a world where the fourth wall doesn't just, like, break. It completely dissolves.
Right.
And that forces the characters and, us reading along to really question the nature of their reality.
And that dissolving starts immediately, doesn't it?
Yeah.
We jump in right after a huge loss for Roland, the gunslinger, and his ka-tet.
His ka-tet, right? His sort of chosen family, bound by destiny, by Cock.
And two members, Benny Slightman and Margaret Eisenhart, they're dead.
Yeah.
And even more urgent, Susanna Dean is just gone.
Yeah, snatched away to New York City, pregnant with this mysterious entity they call a chap.
Which, let's be clear, is not just any baby.
Oh, absolutely not. The sources tell us pretty quickly this is some kind of, well, demonic offspring.
Yeah.
Parasitic. Destined to serve the Crimson King, the big bad.
So the urgency for the others, Eddie, Jake, Father Callahan, it's immediate, huge.
Yeah, Susanna's missing. They don't know the full story with this pregnancy. And then there's the time difference between worlds. That's crucial.
Right, because time could be flying by for her in New York while it's just days for them.
Exactly. Weeks, maybe months could pass for her. It adds this immense pressure.
And while they're grappling with all that, Roland and Eddie, still reeling, they go talk to this old guy, Henchik.
About the cave-in.
Right, this lingering magic in a place called the Doorway Cave.
And Henchik basically says, this magic, it's ancient, it's powerful, and it's kind of beyond him. You get this sense of these unpredictable forces just simmering there.
And then, boom. This is where, for me, the conceptual ground really shifts.
Oh, yeah, Father Callahan.
Father Callahan, he's already a man displaced from his own world, his own story, you could say.
Yeah.
And he finds himself holding a book, Salem's Lot.
A book he's never seen, by an author he's never heard of.
But the chilling thing, the absolutely undeniable fact is, he discovers he's a major character in it.
He lived it. Every event in that fictional town, the vampires, all of it, it happened to him.
He can hold this book. It even details, it's a first trade edition, 1975, the price, misprints everything, and read his own life. His past trauma, his experiences, laid out as fiction. It's not just a philosophical what-if anymore, is it?
No, it's immediate. It's this visceral, existential crisis hitting him right there. How do you square that, your memories, your choices, versus it all being written down?
Does it mean he didn't really have free will then? Or does knowing the script change things now?
That's the core question, isn't it? Does knowing the story trap you, or can you somehow break from it? It fundamentally challenges his sense of agency.
And before he can even really start to process that bombshell, Roland and Eddie are in deep trouble.
Right, the ambush, Balazar's men, Jack Andolini, George Biondi.
Yeah, in a convenience store, of all places. And the source material details this really intense, pretty brutal shootout.
And Eddie, he learns fast, uses diesel fuel as a weapon. It's quite a transformation for him, becoming this effective gunslinger.
They barely escape, with help from this guy, John Cullum.
Their rescuer. And he drops another piece of the puzzle.
The walk-ins and walk-outs.
Exactly. People from other worlds, maybe even time travelers, just appearing and disappearing. He mentions his house has this hobbit hole feel.
Which immediately tells you, okay, reality here is way more porous, more layered than we thought.
It just keeps expanding, that sense of multiple realities brushing up against each other.
And that porousness, it sets up the next huge moment perfectly. Cullum takes Roland and Eddie to a house, Bridgeton, Maine.
And they meet Stephen King.
The Stephen King.
Yeah.
the author. This is where it all starts to really unravel, for them and for us.
He's presented as, well, the maker of their world, the word slinger, the source of this weird singing power in the area.
It must be incredibly surreal for King, too. He's grappling with his own character standing right in front of him.
Yeah, the source mentions him noticing the blood on Eddie's leg, the dust on Roland's face, like proof that they're real in his reality.
And it's fascinating how the source material shows us King's side of it, his writing process.
Right, how he doesn't really outline, how the story sometimes just gets away from him, gets too big.
He even feels something pushing back against him, trying to uncreate things. Like the story itself has agency.
And we get glimpses of his normal life, too. His wife Tabby, his kids, his past struggles with drinking. Even remembering things like acne or specific dates like the Top Shem Fair or Buddy Holly's death.
It's kind of brilliant, grounding this massive cosmic story by making the creator so relatable, even while he's basically God to these characters.
It makes the whole situation feel less abstract, more personal somehow.
And the meta stuff keeps piling up. Those details about Callahan's copy of Salem's Lot.
Yeah, the first edition value, the misprints, even why it sold well in New England, some local chain promotion. It's like the book itself is part of their reality's fabric.
And connecting the director John Sturges, who did The Magnificent Seven, to Calabrian Sturgis, where they fought the wolves.
It just keeps blurring those lines, suggesting everything is built on these interwoven layers of stories, real and fictional becoming tangled.
Roland, always focused, presses King about the number 19, this recurring number.
Yeah, a motif King himself can't fully explain. Just that it's prime and it feels important. It has this pull.
And then, the really chilling part. King is marked. He has a Tadana.
A death bag. This faint black haze around him that, in their world, signals a kind of predetermined, usually bad end, tied to the tower's fate.
And it's not just a hint. The source material, through King's own journal entries, even a fictional newspaper clipping,
explicitly reveals his death, June 19th, 1999, hit by a van near Lovell, Maine.
Which is terrifying for Roland and Eddie. If their maker, their author, dies, what happens to them?
Does the story just stop? Do they unravel? It's a massive, unsettling question hanging over them.
Truly. Okay, so while that's happening in Maine, we've got this parallel story unfolding with Susannah in New York.
Right, Susannah, but also Mia, the entity sharing her body.
And Mia is driving this journey. The sources are clear. She is fiercely determined to have this baby. She believes it's her entire purpose.
Her arrival in New York is, well, it's bizarre. Witnessed by this poor woman, Trudy Damascus,
who sees a woman literally growing legs as she appears out of thin air.
And Trudy tries to tell people, but who's going to believe that? It perfectly shows that clash between these huge world-bending events and just, ordinary perception.
She even compares it to Scrooge seeing Marley's ghost, linked to thinking about roast beef and potatoes for lunch. It's oddly funny, but also highlights the sheer weirdness.
Yeah, grounding the supernatural in the mundane.
So Susannah Mia ends up near this building, 2 Hammerskjold Plaza. Locals call it the Black Tower.
And there's this sound around it, this sweet humming or singing. Apparently it even cleared up one guy's acne.
Just another layer of mystery, this strange phenomenon adding to the surreal, maybe dangerous vibe around her.
And then a key magical object shows up. The Scrimshaw turtle.
Right. Susannah Mia uses its hypnotic power on a businessman, Mats Van Wyck. Gets money, a hotel room.
And the source explicitly says this turtle is a double of Jake's key, the one from Calvin Tower's bookshop.
Suggesting a pattern, right? These objects guiding them, connecting them.
Definitely. And the turtle also represents Maturin, this ancient cosmic turtle god from King's other works, linking her situation to these really deep primal forces.
But inside Susannah, things are falling apart. Her Dogen, her mental control room.
Yeah, the source describes it as deteriorating badly, deep cracks, smoke, screaming machinery. It shows the incredible strain of containing Mia and this unholy baby.
And that strain leads Mia right into the lion's den, the Dixie Pig.
Yeah, a truly terrifying place, run by Sayre and the Crimson King's followers.
And there, the real plan, the horror of it, is laid bare.
Mia realizes she was just used. Created only to bear this child, Mordred.
Who is destined to be a powerful breaker for the Crimson King. Someone capable of destroying the beams that hold all realities together.
The ultimate stakes revealed. So Susannah and Edda Walker, her other personality, they fight desperately for control, trying to stop Mia, stop the King's plan.
Mia confesses she was cozened, completely deceived. This baby won't be hers.
And the source gives us Mordred's parentage, starkly. Mordred Deshane, son of Roland, and one other. Oh, can you say Discordia?
Discordia, chaos itself. And the birth. It's described almost like Mia is being faxed the baby, cell by cell.
Yeah, gruesome, unnatural, emphasizing just how wrong this whole thing is.
A deeply disturbing origin for a child with such immense, potentially world-ending importance. Okay, this brings us back to these fragile worlds, these connections. Eddie, back in Maine with King.
He's wrestling with this idea of different Earths existing along a beam, right?
Yeah, trying to understand it. He talks about real worlds like the 1977 Maine they're in now versus not quite real ones.
Like for Brooklyn, where Co-op City is, but in this 1977 world, Co-op City's in the Bronx. Little differences that show they're not on their home level of the tower.
And this idea of the key world emerges.
Right, the main one, closest to the Dark Tower where time only runs forward. It's not just flavor, it's fundamental to how this multiverse works.
It constantly reminds them how fragile their own existence is within this huge cosmic structure. They're not on the primary Earth.
Exactly, and their vulnerability is always present.
So, while Susannah's horror unfolds, Jake and Father Callahan arrive in New York too, on their own quest.
And they run into the street preacher, Reverend Harrigan.
Who sounds uncannily like Henchik, the old man from Midworld, and curses like the folk from Calibre and Sturgis.
More echoes, reinforcing that connections bleed across worlds. And Harrigan also hears the singing around Hammarskjöld Plaza.
And connects it to a single wild rose, a powerful symbol of the Dark Tower itself. Its influence is everywhere.
Callahan's got his own mission there. Getting rid of Black 13, that dangerous magic orb. He plans to lock it away.
Trying to contain its evil. And Jake gets something too from King via Cullum, a red key, a mad card.
Which glows red in his hand. Another symbolic object, a message perhaps.
And then, inevitably, all paths converge on that awful place.
The Dixie Pig. Jake and Callahan know they have to go in, rescue Susannah. They're terrified, but they're resolute.
The source paints this picture of grotesque parties, masks, hints of cannibalism, just pure danger and otherness.
It feels like the heart of the enemy's territory in that world.
And despite everything, the losses, the separation, Susannah's horrific situation, meeting their paths keep getting pulled together.
Let's start the Dark Tower. It's all serving Ka, that overriding destiny. Even when the ka-tet is fragmented, Ka is pushing them forward.
This deep dive, it really has pulled us through a narrative where those lines, creator, creation, reality, fiction, they just blur completely.
Yeah.
Sometimes thrillingly, sometimes, frankly, terrifyingly.
Yeah, we've seen characters literally confront their author, jump between dimensions, witness this monstrous birth that could decide the fate of everything.
What's really striking, I think, is how, even though it is fiction, these questions it raises feel very real. Destiny, free will, the nature of reality itself.
They resonate deeply, don't they? It really makes you think, how much of our own lives are maybe written? How much control do we actually have?
So here's the final thought to leave you with. If our lives were a story, what if there is, somewhere, a maker for our world? And what might they be writing for us right now?